COVID snuck up on us and exposed a lot of gaps and inadequacies in our healthcare system right now that have led to a lot of scrambling and a lot of difficult choices. Though these issues are not new and they've been brought to attention through pandemic planning, they haven't been acted on. And the current pandemic has shed light on ways for the world to be more prepared and more equipped. We all know about a lack of stockpiling and scrambling with these things that keep people from getting infected. And there's a lot of conversation around that, like masks and hand sanitizer and even the pursuit of a vaccine. But what's really, really critical is that we don't have access to enough ventilators to keep those people who do get infected from actually dying. So this becomes a major pain point. The need for ventilators has doubled. The CDC has recommended going from 3 to 7 per 10,000 people. So that's a massive change. And that's leaving a lot of these administrators with these unthinkable choices, right? They're having to get into bidding wars on ventilators and scraping together all of these resources just to be able to buy one, which leads to sharp budget shortfalls. And suddenly they're not able to offer some of the services they've had otherwise. For instance, having people on shared equipment, which at least halves the effectiveness of some of this equipment. This is not ideal in treatment, and then having to make life or death decisions on top of that. Triaging who gets on a machine and who doesn't. So this is where CoreVent comes in to save the day. It's a low-cost, clinically viable ventilator. In 2020, there's plenty of companies that have been making clinically viable ventilators, but they're at such a premium that they become not only impossible to source, but at $50,000 per unit, they're really out of reach for a lot of people who are on the front lines. And then there's other kinds of ventilators out there like automated ambu bags, but they're not clinically viable compared to what's effective for acute respiratory care. So this is some of the competition that's out there right now. And so the CoreVent Difference is, first and foremost, a 75% less capital investment, but you still get that clinical functionality. That's going to open up the market to so many people who couldn't afford them before. While the need is so important now, it's going to be much more in demand in the future. With an aging population, among other health concerns, there are many pressures being placed on healthcare providers to be prepared. This is a growing market regardless of what's happening with COVID. And coming in at this price point exposes us to a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have access. We've got a provisional patent on our design, which has been tested and verified in an artificial lung device at the UCLA Simulation Lab with over 100 tests. And maybe even more importantly, it's easily sourced and simple to use with low maintenance costs. So it's not just that initial investment where they're saving, it's the ongoing use of these products that's also going to be really helpful. As we look towards the future, there's a 500% increase in manufacturability with this particular design, a 200% increase in access to ventilators, and a 50% decrease in maintenance costs. This is a growing market that's projected to reach $8 billion. But really our initial target market is in the $800 million range with public health departments, medical facility ICUs, long-term acute care facilities, and pandemic response nonprofits. Starting in order of the county level, then state, national, and international. These organizations have medical directors that make purchasing decisions on their medical equipment, liaisons advocating, so we'd be working with them and the doctors who use these products. Several of the county level emergency health directors we've spoken with have said they're looking to create ventilator stockpiles, and this is really promising. So we need to act fast. Obviously, COVID is still raging. There's a second wave that seems almost inevitable. So this timeline is critical. This month, we've been working on the applications for the National I-Corps program and an SBIR grant. Our team is also advancing the tech for the next prototype. Then we'll move into clinical testing with IRB approval. And also, we're waiting to receive our EUA from the FDA. We've already accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. Since forming the group in early March, we filed a provisional patent, tested at UCLA Simulation Lab, won bronze in the USCU CLA Hack for Hope competition, finished 2 regional I-Corps programs, received an Aero certification, and received some great traction in the media. We've done all of this with a dedicated, passionate, and talented team. A diverse team lives all over the US and is led by Glenn Meyerowitz, a Yale graduate, former SpaceX engineer, and current UCLA biodesign fellow. Now we need your immediate help with expertise in medical grade prototyping and IRB testing, and we're seeking partners for development and regulatory affairs. We believe healthcare administrators shouldn't have to decide between who lives and dies simply because they can't find or afford life-saving medical devices. So with your help and easy access to affordable and effective CoreVent ventilators, they'll never have to make that decision again. Thank you for your time. Please reach out if you think we could have a productive conversation. Stay well, stay powerful.